Testing 1, 2, 3. Hello, can you guys hear me?
5 by 5.
Yes, hello.
Oh goodness, that was annoying.
Hey, Larry.
All of a sudden,
Yeah.
everything, just as you all were starting to log in, all of a sudden everything just stopped working.
Oh dear.
Well, it does sound like you're talking underwater, but there's a little burble quality to your voice.
Hang on just a second.
Sounds clear to me, but
Yeah.
maybe your gurgle
could be a-
hearing mechanisms are more sensitive than mine.
Anyway, according to my broadcast software, the stream should be running, but on my my monitoring
it's running.
Okay, I just
Yeah, you're
I didn't have the screen up on mine, so I'm refreshing the page.
okay. Yeah, you were turned around with your arm extended to the right.
That's the
Not
computer
hearing
that I have to
anybody.
monitor the stream window.
Hi, Zeke. Sure, Zeke.
Hey, Zeke.
You just like to keep in suspense and log in at 5 till. I was inviting Arte to lead the tour.
Actually, he has all my notes, so he probably could at this
Testing
point.
1, 2.
Except he doesn't have my pictures.
Yeah, he
No,
couldn't stream the first part of her tour.
Okay.
Zeke, can you hear us okay? I can hear Murphak muttering to himself. That's always a good sign when he mutters. It means he's working on his special effects.
Yep. Or he's having problems with his special effects and second.
That's true. It could be construed as a bad sign when he's muttering. Oh, now he's muted. Oh, I didn't mean to hurt your feelings, Murphak. Oh, Zeke is muted.
They're both muted.
They're both muted.
And Zeke is recording the call. Yeah.
Oh no.
Uh-oh, we got to be on our best behavior.
No,
Susan.
I don't consent. I did not make any comment about Larry wearing pants. Just for the record.
I'm not wearing pants. I'm wearing shorts.
Well, when you stood up to fix things, I speculated. I said, I hope Larry's wearing pants. And I said, oh, with a shirt that long, he doesn't need to wear pants. So you're wearing shorts? Okay. Like sari shorts with big pockets?
No, they're just black.
Actually,
they're my
safari shorts.
Lounging shorts, not the ones I normally wear outdoors.
Lounging shorts. Uh-oh, they're his indoor shorts. In other words, they're his pajamas.
More or less, yes. Except that when I go to bed, I take them off.
Oh, okay. I guess I shouldn't have gone there. Okay. Note to self: never talk about Larry's pants on YouTube again.
Now, let's see. I suppose it was, except that. Anyway, Angel Myst was just saying that it's too much info.
Yeah, TMI. Sorry, this is the pre-tour chatter. I should post a warning.
Okay.
Listen.
I can hear everybody now.
Okay.
Hey,
I can't use my Bluetooth for some odd reason.
Huh.
Oh.
Okay,
Skype is saying that Zeke is recording us.
Am I recording?
That's what it says.
Zeke is recording you. If you continue to stay on the line, you consent to being recorded.
Ooh, okay. How do I exit out of that?
I have no idea. I don't even know how you managed it in the first place.
Okay.
But I don't. But it's
Technical difficulties, so let me figure this out.
well, you can do that, but
Well, the
it's not
tour's about to
important.
start.
Yeah.
I mean, we're
Okay.
being recorded on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, if you could please figure out how to stop recording, I'd appreciate it. Shiloh, I'm a physician on the surface. Nothing destroys your brain to mouth filter like being in medicine.
Okay, they're saying that they're not. Creek Rider's saying that he has no audio from me. Hang on. Let me check.
Well, if they're saying TMI, can you all hear us okay?
Yeah, my microphone in my broadcast software is set to the right one, so.
Logged into Twitch TV. Larry's audio is not as loud as the rest.
Okay.
Did you turn off the music?
Yeah. Well, I had to restart my computer, so that went the way.
Oh, okay. So you turned it. Yeah, it never came back on. Gotcha.
Right.
Well, Angel, Susan and I will basically shut up once Larry starts the tour.
How dare you?
Oh,
Why was someone complaining that we were talking?
that should actually fix the problem of me sounding soft.
Yeah, you do sound a little bit louder now.
What
Yeah.
happened was I just looked at my microphone and the volume knob on that had somehow gotten turned all the way down.
Ah. Hate it
Okay.
when that happens.
Note to self, let's log in an hour early. the three of us to sort everything out on Larry's end.
Well,
Okay.
I start up at 11 o'clock just
And now
so
we
I can
can
try
hear
and
you.
track
Right.
down all the nonsense like this. Okay.
All right.
That
And
was so weird.
Before I start,
oh, I don't know
make
if you've
sure.
all seen
Yes.
my microphone, but I'll bring that closer to me to try and get it in frame.
Before I start, I want to make sure everyone has Twitch up because we have some newbies here. Who is new? Lene Mission is new.
Very colorful microphone, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Let me see. Yeah, you gave us a tour of your Wizard of Oz chambers. Let me see. Oh, I can't see it now.
That's because I just moved to the side. Let me go
Oh,
ahead and
I
bring
blew
it
up
back.
the screen
back
and
in.
it disappeared.
Yeah, here we go. Pretty much everything on my desktop changes color now.
Okay. Oh, did I?
Okay, anyway. So, it's just past 12 o'clock, so in order to begin the tour, the first stage that we are going to is not part of Uru yet. So I'm going to have to log out of Uru and open up a different version of Myst in order to show it to you.
Am I recording or am I good now?
Well, it doesn't say anything on my screen anyway.
Okay. That's
So let's see. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and close Uru right now. And then close.
Have you done the introduction yet?
Nope, you can go ahead and do that while I'm changing my game window.
Okay. I want to thank everyone for coming to the cavern tours. Our first goal right now is if you can hear us in Skype. I need to get a Skype link in, Susan. We will be switching window mode and Skype mode. So we'll be switching in game and on Twitch to show you other things that we can't show in game. If the when we go on these tours, it is best to stay with the group. During certain intervals, we will have a place where you can ask questions and stuff. Try to keep the questions related to the age, and because some of those questions might be related to a later tour. Um, and then if the game sounds are too loud, go to your settings, audios, audio settings, and turn down your ambient sounds, sound effects, and music so that you can hear Larry without the in-game music being intrusive. The second thing is when we join a group, we will be using Mural. Is it Muralbot? Muralbot?
Yeah.
And you will need to buddy him, get his key number in the key, and we will be using him to link to the age. If for some odd reason your game crashes, or if you are left behind in the group, you can type in Mirabot link, and then you can say find Larry, and it will find the group for you. And it is best not to climb on any ladders or press any buttons, because that can ruin the tour experience. We have a technician to be able to do that. And is there anything else I'm missing?
No, I don't think so, but in any case,
And if you look,
if you look
it,
you'll need to pay attention to the stream window for this part, since we're going to be starting out in a different version of Order.
Hello?
Hello?
Hey, yep,
I'm back.
I hear.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a message that Zeke removed me from Skype.
Oops.
Yeah, and I
I'm
thought
like,
that was
kid.
recording.
And when I came, I guess he doesn't want to be co-host anymore. And when I came back in, I was muted. Okay, I'm here. Go ahead.
Anyway, if you're paying attention to the stream window, you will see that I am currently climbing my way up the volcano.
Hold on. Where's my Twitch? Can I do this? And
Geronimo.
Okay, now you should be singing that fire song, Arte.
where the bad people go where they die. They don't go to heaven where the angels fly. Go to a lake of fire and fry. See him again on the 4th of July. That was a little off key at the end.
Okay, I just messed that up, didn't I? Hang on for a second, I can't see my the Skype chat because the window was partially obscured. There we go. Okay, now we can get that back. Oops. Oops. Man, I am really messing up at the moment. Darn
Get your act together, Larry.
it. I am trying to, but for some reason,
This is why he needs pants.
here we go. Now I can see both the stream window and... Wait. Bloody heck, every time I open up the stream window, it's changing the position of my chat window, and that's obscuring my view of the of my broadcast software. Anyway, I'll go ahead and just leave it as is and deal with it. So, down we go into the hole that Atris blasted in the volcano because he didn't know what the heck he was doing with a battery generator.
And there's a picture of that battery generator in the cleft, right?
Correct. It was actually, he was capping off a steam fumarole in the volcano to use the steam pressure in order to generate electricity for the so that he could run wires down to the cleft. And he completely miscalculated the stresses involved. The generator got jammed up, and the steam pressure built up to the point where it caused an explosion.
You forgot a minor detail like a pressure relief valve.
Yeah. But he was completely untrained, so there's at least some room to give an excuse there. Okay, today's tours, if you didn't already twig to it from the stream title, are the Garden Ages, and we're starting off in the one that is not yet in Uru Live, and that's Darebo. Darebo, of course, is a Garden Age, if you like your gardens dim and swampy. It's quiet and soothing, but the light levels, as low as they are, I wouldn't try reading a book. To the Denis, however, the lanterns floating in the water channels here would have provided all the light they needed since they grew up and mostly lived underground. We don't know when Darebo was written. Unlike the Garden Ages other than Edergura, it doesn't have a fountain or seating areas. When Dr. Watson went on his quest to free the Barrow, he met Escher, and all that Escher had to say about Darebo was, hang on just a second while I bring up another window here. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. There we go. And this is what Escher had to say about Darebo.
Darebo. An age for resting. Such a peaceful place.
Which is not exactly particularly informative. So other than stating outright that Derebo is a garden age, he didn't say anything useful about it or its history. The garden was used by both Yisha and Escher to direct people who tried to claim the stone tablet that bound the Baro to Denis. It is unknown who first placed the Derebo linking books in the Eder Tomanti of the Great Shaft. They could have been placed there by the Denis, but there's doubt about that because the shaft was closed down right after it was made and dedicated, and the Denis never traveled through it again. The only people who ever really used it before modern times was Anna, Atris, and Gen. Anna used it to get down to Denis. Atris and Gen used it when Anna brought them to the surface to show them their old home. And again, when it was used when Anna and Gen moved to the cleft after the fall of Denis. When Yisha took possession of Derebo, she had her Baro install space-time bubbles. Here, let me go back to that window. Here we go. With pedestals holding stone slates that controlled the locking mechanism for the master tablet. The bubbles exist simultaneously in multiple ages, showing yet again how linking devices created by the Baro often ignored the rules of the art that were followed by the Denis. Escher was not a fan of this change and viewed them as no more than a necessary evil. And this is what he said about them.
There. That profane thing and the other pedestals like it are not of the Denis. They are a regrettable part of this journey. The pedestal will allow you to link in a manner similar to the book that brought you here, but know this. They are perverted tools of the creatures. The creatures. You've seen them. Always watching. Calling to one another in the darkness. Loathsome. Wraiths. They are not as we are. Remember that.
Okay, back to this. Physically, the age is made up of 4 small islands set in a pond that matches their contours. The pond is not very wide, and there is solid ground beyond it. There are 4 channels radiating from the center of the islands. Hold on for a second, please.
Is it me or am I not hearing the Twitch for some odd reason?
Sorry
Larry
about
had
that.
to excuse himself.
Yeah, sorry about that. My mother was calling down something unintelligible down the stairs, and when I went to answer her, she'd already gone. Anyway, so let's go ahead and so we'll go up on top of this bridge here so that we can get an overview here. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4 islands. And as we look out this way, you can see that it's only a few yards to the far bank. So there's actually, in fact, we'll go ahead and head over that way right now. So as I look back, you get a better idea of how wide the pond is. The pond has a lot of algae floating in it, which you can see right there at the edge of the bank. And there are tall mushroom-like plants scattered throughout the water. Those are perhaps the two types of plant which are the most visible. Although if you look at around on the island itself, you can see that it does have a number of grasses scattered over it. The ground itself appears to be mostly covered in moss lichen and the sparse grasses. This particular grass that I'm looking at looks very much like the panic grass that is found in on Relto and in other ages. There are a number of insects in Durebo. In fact, floating right in the middle of the screen there, you can see one of the butterflies. But there are also fireflies here and there. Let's see if we can find any. Here we go. Here's one of the fireflies. There's two species down here. This particular one is solitary, and there are ones like it in the residential neighborhoods in Kadesh Tulesa, and also in let's see. Oh goodness, my mind's going blank. But the cat, Todelmer, that's it. So there are, although in those, in the other ages that you find them, they're often seen flying around lamps because they are attracted to the light there. And then let's see if we can find the other kind of fireflies. Bloody thing should be easy to oh yeah. There's that another one of the solitary ones. But as long as we're here and right next to it, this is a type of insect that's only found here. This is looks like a dragonfly, but it isn't. you'll notice that it has 4 very short wings. I call it a dragonfly because of the long abdomen it has. But in reality, it's not an Earth's insect at all. It's notable for the way its head is fused to its thorax like a spider. The eyes are a light blue-gray and are set high on the top of the cephalothorax. In fact, you should be able to see one right there at the top. You'll also notice that it appears to have just 4 legs, unlike earth insects, which generally have 6. Anyway, I was hunting for the other kind of firefly if I could find, and for some reason they seem to be. Oh, there they are. This type of firefly glows a homogeneous golden color, and like the fireflies in Curie and Chemo, like the Curie in the Negalon pod and Eder Chemo, they congregate in clouds. Where'd you go, you little bastards? There you are. This same insect can be found in the cleft volcano's caldera. Although, let's see, those little beggars are hard to keep pinned down, aren't they? Anyway. And then the first thing that we saw when we came in, oh, there they are, was the butterfly, which has bluish wings. Let's see if we can find another one of those flittering around. Here we go. Right down there at the end of the bridge. They aren't particularly easy to keep on camera frame either. These butterflies are a variety of what is called the crimson kadish, which is the butterfly that's found in Kadish Telesa's alternate vault, as well as in the age of Lachion. And of course, they're one of the things that you can add to your Relto if you find the page for them. That particular type of butterfly can also be found up in the caldera of the volcano. But since it's only found there, it's probably an inadvertent import that may have been carried through a linking book by writing on the clothing of an explorer, or Yisha, or Escher. I believe myself that Lachion is the original home of the species of butterfly. Let me check something out here. Yeah, okay. I've got a picture of this type of butterfly up in the stream right now. And the one thing that you'll notice about this is that, again, it doesn't look very much like an earth insect in that the body and the thorax and the abdomen are fused together instead of being separate like they are on earth butterflies. It's a little hard to tell from this picture, but you may also notice that it does not have the antenna that an earth butterfly does. The only other real feature of this particular garden is, let me go ahead and get that down and bring the game back up. Hold on just for a second, my mother's back. Mother, it's the fourth Saturday, I'm busy. Like part of I'm busy, did you not understand? I'll get it when I'm done.
Did Larry mention that Rawa's mother's in Twitch? Did everyone say hi to her?
Sorry about that, but any case, I was mentioning that the only other real feature besides the bridges in this age is that the central channel has a number of lamps in it, which would be Denis fire marble lamps. So you can see them scattered throughout the central channel, the 4 channels that run between the islands. And something else that I forgot to mention is that this age, as I said, is called Durebo. And Durebo is a Denis name that means, or Denis word that means wheel. Because this is the water looks a bit like the shape of a wheel with 4 spokes. I believe that that's why it is named that. Okay, I think that's pretty much everything. Do we have any questions about Durebo?
I don't see any yet, but I had a question. What we do know about any age is that it's not created, it's something that's discovered. And then once it's discovered, then objects can be imported into the age. Now, maybe this is just a careful choice, but it just seems to me that for those 4 barrow globes and these 4 bridges with the lock gates to be positioned so equidistantly, if that's a word, from each other, was that just a careful choice of the landscape? Or, because I don't think a Durebo, it couldn't have been designed for these structures, right?
No. Yisha took existing Denis ages and modified them for her purposes. So the 4 barrow pedestals and the globes surrounding them are indeed something that she had put in well after the fact.
But they're also symmetrical to each other. So, assuming Durebo is a very huge age, I mean, for her to find land masses amongst the streams,
no, she didn't write this. She didn't create the link to this age, just like all the others. She took an existing
right.
book and modified it to suit her purposes.
Right, but the book had these land masses
Correct.
upon which she could place these four globes
This was a
symmetrically.
this
It
is
just seems coincidental they can be so symmetrical, right?
no. She chose it because of the shape.
Oh, okay.
So for the Denis, this was just a place where they could come and chill. In fact, as I mentioned, we don't even know for certain who placed the books to Dorebo in the Great Shaft.
Well, it must have been Nisha, right?
You would think so, but there's nothing that says that it was definitively her, and she never says anything about it in any of her speeches.
Well, it wouldn't have been Escher, right? Because Escher used those books to get
Of
around
course
too.
not. Escher, if Escher was planning this particular quest, he would have never put Barrow structures here. He considers that sacrilegious. Anyway, let me go ahead and get out of this version of the game. And I will. Oh, by the way, Angel Myst was asking if I couldn't keep us in the age while narrating. And the thing is that every time I needed to do something, it made the window go away. So that was just a side effect of the version of the game I was doing. But I'm about to open up the regular game and rejoin you all. So,
Is someone still working on importing Myst 5 into Mula?
as far as I know, Dubes is still working on the Great Shaft, but I haven't checked on his progress in quite a while now.
He's been busy on the surface for a while,
Ah,
so there hasn't been any new improvements to it for the
Okay.
last 4 or 5 months.
mm-hmm. That's a shame. Because for a while there, he was making pretty good progress on the Great Shaft.
The the plans they have in place are great, but it's one of those years long projects.
Mhm. Plus, you have to consider all the rules in which Cyan has placed on it when creating something that big.
Actually, they've pretty much washed their hands of it and turned the whole thing over to the fans. Although they do keep an eye on things to make sure that what the fans are producing meets their standards, they aren't really restricting anything.
And from what I understand, Zeke, Dubes has been in contact with Cyan as far as this specific project of the Great Shaft and linking it up eventually to the South Gate in the cavern.
Okay.
And they are on board with that.
Okay. That's good to know.
Okay. Everyone, you can go ahead and link to the bot now, and we'll go on to the next stage.
Lene, did Lene ever get signed into Twitch?
I have no idea.
Um,
I didn't. I was having so much trouble before we
yeah.
began. I didn't actually mention anything to them. While we're waiting,
And her.
while we are waiting for everyone to catch up, I'll give you the overview of the Garden Ages, which is the word Eder in Denis literally means rest, but in the case of the age names, it means a place to relax or take a break from ordinary life. When Renref, the first king of Denis, wrote the Book of Earth, he chose the age to be in a cavern deep underground, as a place where one could be surrounded by quiet and undistracted by wind, weather, and the other wonders of life on a planet's surface. He believed that living in a dim, barren cavern would make him and his followers appreciate the ages they wrote and visited all the more. However, it was soon recognized that a life without beauty and always in darkness might suit fungus, but it was harmful for the human soul in the long run. Their first solution was the creation of what are called light gardens, which are artificial places where sculptures mimicked a natural environment. However, light gardens were only a partial solution. Places where a person could link to experience natural beauty were soon written, and many were shared in public linking book libraries and parks. The practice hit its heights throughout the Denis century 8100, so that when so many garden ages were written, that century was known thereafter as the Garden Age binge. It is thought that Eder Chemo was written early in that century and widely distributed. However, it was retired and other ages were substituted to replace it, such as Eder Delen and Eder Zogel. The word Eder is used for another type of place, the Eder Toman. An Eder Toman is a place set aside where a traveler can stop to rest and sleep. Eder Toman literally translates as rest house. When Yesha decided to build quests for the explorers she would call to Denis, she incorporated 4 of the Garden Ages into them. 2, Eder Chemo and Eder Gura, were made part of a quest known as the Path of the Hand for its symbol, a spiral handprint pattern. The other 2 gardens, Eder Delen and Eder Zogel, were used by Yesha for another quest whose purpose is not understood. She chose to make it different from any of her other quests that she had created. The quest seems to be a lesson in cooperation in which 8 people would have to work together. The gardens are each one half of that quest. Why she wanted to make a puzzle like that and what it was intended to teach remains unknown. In the Path of the Hand, Yesha chose passages from the writing of Urpa to set the tone she wanted to convey. For Eder Gura and Eder Chemo, she chose entry 1071, item 54. And let's see. And this is
when all is taken from one, the one hope that remains is what is given by another. Through this giving, both are redeemed. When all is taken from one, the one hope that remains is what is given by another. Through this giving, both are redeemed.
I repeated that twice because I had stepped on the first line. Anyway, when explorers passed through the Barrador in Ederquimo, they were greeted by her voice telling them the lesson she wanted them to believe. And what she had to say there is,
many stories were there for the Denis to learn from, but they didn't hear them. The ancient tales of Tuat's Ocean, or of course the story of King Shomat and his brothers, which even speaks of gardens and death. But no one truly listened. The garden ages of the proud are beautiful, but they are built on the backs of the least. The ages like Chemo and Gira are a sampling of the playthings of Denis. With disregard, the least were stripped from their homes. The lives in those ages were consumed, and the Denis gave nothing back. And whatever is not given back will be taken.
and of course, as usual, she actually, at best, told half-truths when she said all that. But that was it. But half-truths and lies were her stock in trade in getting you to get to do the things that she needed you to do in her quest to free the Badr. So let's get on to Delin and Sogo, since we're starting in Delin. Delin and Sogo were both written during the Garden Age binge of the Denis Century 8100, which covered the years 444 to 544 BC on the surface. Throughout Denis history, it was not all that uncommon for the nobles or the government to attempt to gain favor from upper and middle class populace by commissioning rest ages for them. Copies of these linking books would then be donated to residential common libraries all across the caverns, or placed in central linking book libraries. Or also, they'll sometimes put them in parks. It's known, for example, that there was an island in the Denis Lake that was made into a park and had several donated linking books in it. The ferryboat system that had been approved by King Emin in Denis year 5202 had a dock on that island. It is thought that Eder Delin and Eder Tsogul may have been written as replacements for Eder Gura, which had been retired and withdrawn from circulation around that time, the time that they were approved for public use. Linking books here to Eder Delin were placed in the residential neighborhoods on January 19th of 2007. At first, only about half of the neighborhoods had the book, because they had intended to leave room for the Eder Tsogul books to be released later. In fact, the DRC wrote a note titled Eder Delin from the DRC, date 1/19/2007. The DRC is proud to announce the release of Eder Delin. You will note the book is not in every neighborhood. We must insist that you don't start new neighborhoods just to find one with a book. The next age will be placed in neighborhoods that don't have an Eder Delin book. Feel free to find a public neighborhood or a friend who does have Eder Delin. We'll have the next age out as soon as possible. The DRC. However, Explorer reaction to that announcement was very negative, and it caused the DRC to recant the idea on the very same day, and the books were placed in all of the residential neighborhoods. So on 1/19/2007, later in the day, they wrote, In last-minute discussions, the DRC decided that placing Ederdellan in a percentage of neighborhoods was ill-advised and problematic. As a result, we have decided to place the book in every neighborhood. We apologize for any confusion. As for the next age, we'll discuss its distribution at a later time, the DRC. The books to Dellan were all removed from circulation on May 19th of that same year and were replaced with books to Ederzogel. The Dellan books were redistributed on May 31st to half of the neighborhoods, beginning the more or less even distribution of both books that we have today. The stained glass panels for the books were not hung until September 11th of 2007. So just what is Ederdellan? In Denis, the name of the age roughly means misty garden. Physically, Ederdellan is a rocky depression whose surrounding terrain is unknown because of the persistent mist that shrouds it. It is divided up into 3 sections with gazebos and seating nooks for privacy. The upper garden has a gazebo, a floating sculpture that is similar but not identical to the one in Ederkemo, and a seating nook. The sculpture is made of stone imported from the edge of Rebek and floats naturally. Other examples of Rebek stone sculptures are the similar sculpture in Ederkemo, several decorations in the Great Zero Monument, and the seed sculptures in the residential neighborhood meditation chambers. The mid-garden section has a single gazebo. The lower garden has a fountain with benches. Such fountains are found in all 3 of the garden ages that were released by the DRC, and the Denis made them in a standardized design, so that they are essentially all identical in appearance. Dellan is home to a wide variety of plants and birds, although the air is constantly shrouded by the pinkish-orange fog that restricts view to a few yards, so seeing of any of the animals is effectively impossible. If you listen, you can make out the calls of 9 different species of birds, including crows and geese. The Age's maintainer mark, which I am currently standing next to, is placed here near the floating sculpture. The power in this mark seems to be shorting out, and that causes the light to flicker slowly. This is perhaps the most serene of the garden ages that are available to explorers, with the possible exception of Doreba. It has 2 main seasons, summer and winter, and in winter the age is covered with snow. It seems to go straight from one season to the next without any discernible spring or autumn. Murphak, if you can change this to the winter mode, thank you. It was on February 20th of 2007 that Ederdellan first experienced a winter storm after it was released by the DRC. The snow lasted until April 5th of 2007. That storm had been predicted by the DRC several days earlier. A protracted winter season began on September 10th of 2007 and lasted for over 6 months, ending on March 6th of 2008. That winter season, unlike the first storm, had not been predicted. I have not yet found any concrete information about the cycle of the seasons in Ederdellan or the length of its year. Thank you, Murphak. If you can change it back to the summer mode, please. Thank you. Many of the ages that you run across are cross-dimensional versions of Earth. The plant life in various ages is often recognizable as either being the same as earthly varieties or at least closely related. This is true here in Ederdellan, where many of the plants are ones that can be found in your local garden shops, which means that this is one of the ages that a truly determined person could actually recreate if they had a mind to. The ground is covered in blue grass and a soft leafy plant that I can't identify. You can see falling leaves, mostly maple, all around the place. There are two plants that are identified by DRC documentation. The first plant, let's see. If you look over here, these trees with the reddish leaves have been positively identified as Japanese maple trees, also known as Acer palmatum. And if I remember correctly, okay. I am currently standing next to the second identified plant, which is a marsh fern, Phelipterus palustris. This marsh ferns are a common plant found in many other ages where there is reasonably wet ground. But there is one plant that is very attention-grabbing. And I'm standing right next to now. I had no idea what these were until an explorer named Myst identified it as a plant called Persian shield, Strobilanthes diarrheanus. On Earth, this plant is native to Burma. Persian shield has 8-inch long leaves that are iridescent shades of purple, lilac, and pink, and are purple-maroon on the undersides. The foliage looks like it has a light coating of silver, which gives it that glint that's kind of metallic. At one point, an explorer named Kalamas had an interview with Dr. Kodama, and he did ask about Ederdellan. He asked, "Is there anything you can tell us about the nature of Ederdellan other than it being another rest stage? Any unique or interesting thing about it or its history?" And Dr. Kodama answered, "Not especially. The Denis had quite a few ages that seem to have been written for the same reason parks are created in cities, places to relax. I'm not sure there is much more to its background, at least not that I know of currently." So far we haven't gotten any information from any of the DRC as to whether or not there's any sort of written histories or any concrete information about the Garden Ages. And that's pretty much it for this particular age. So do we have any questions before we move on to the next one?
I didn't see any. I think you said, though, that the maintainer's mark was covered by snow, but it wasn't. Did I mishear you?
No, I said that it was shorting out, and that's
Oh, right. Okay.
It's
Right.
it has a slow cycle of getting dark and lighting back up again.
Yeah, it flickers. Why does it never snow at the fountain?
Actually, I have no idea on that one. Let's take a quick look. Let's see. The stairs are behind me. Yeah, there we go. So if we take a quick a walk down to the fountain, Murphac, can you turn the snow back on, please? Okay, I hadn't actually noticed that before, but you're entirely correct. There is no snow here in this section. So the only thing I can think of is that the concrete here is probably warmer, too warm for the snow. So it just doesn't, it just immediately melts when it touches it.
It doesn't look like snow accumulates on the boulders either, like anywhere.
Well, we never actually see snow falling, so
But there's no like collections of snow in the cracks and crevices or whatever.
in any case, if there's no other questions, we are done with Eddardellen, and we can move on to Eddard Sogol, if you would please, Smurfang.
I do have another in-cavern explanation as far as why there's no snow at the
You want to
fountain.
go to Tsugan now?
Hmm?
Where are you?
Eddard,
Yeah,
Good.
Sogol.
Eddard
Tsugan.
Sogol.
Ah, okay. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
You were saying, Murphac? I mean, Arte?
You know, each world has a prevailing direction of weather. You know, we rotate
Okay,
east to west,
you're
so
there.
our prevailing weather comes out of the west, and maybe the prevailing weather is behind this cliff by the fountain, so all the snow falls on the other side.
As good an explanation as any I've ever heard. Which is none.
Exactly. The only other explanation is out of character.
Okay, it looks like Mirabot's there. Everyone, PM link to Mirabot.
I was mentioning that the layout of the fountains and all of the ages, the garden ages, are identical to each other. That's even true here, although unlike the other two gardens, the fountain is not in the middle of the Lincoln area or this little courtyard. Instead, it's over there in one of the ponds. However, that fountain that is in the middle of that pond is identical to the fountains in both Eder Chemo and Eder Dellen. Eder Zogel roughly means sunny garden in Denis, and the DRC gave it final approval on February 14th of 2007. It first appeared in residential neighborhood libraries on May 19th, where it temporarily replaced all of the Eder Dellen books. There is very little mention of the event in DRC announcements or interviews, however. Zogel is of course one of the 5 garden ages that we have access to. Zogel is a depression in what appears to be a wide mountain valley and is surrounded by rolling hills with tall mountains that are visible in the distance. The garden is overgrown right now, but in its heyday, the grass was probably a well-maintained lawn. With its shallow pools and cloudless sky, this age might well have been a place for parents to bring their children to get some sunshine and splash in the water. Unlike the more formal Dellen and Chemo, there are fewer seating areas, which adds to the idea that it was meant to be a place for kids to run and play. It might have even been used for family picnics. As with all of the ages that were approved for use in Denis, this age does indeed have a maintainer's mark. I'll run along the path here and over here. But this one isn't quite as visible as it could be because it's actually kind of hidden. If you come over to the far end of the garden where I am standing and look at just in front of my feet, you can see the maintainer's mark. For some reason, it's been placed at the bottom of one of the pools. And while you're all doing that, I'm going to go ahead and bring up, let's see. If you all take a quick look at the stream window, I have a picture up that shows what the ground, what the world outside this depression is like. Okay, that should be enough time for you all have gotten a look at it. There do not seem to be as many animals in the immediate area as there are in, say, Eder Dellen. The only calls that are discernible are cicadas and a variety of unidentified birds. There are also no trees here in the garden, but as you saw in my picture, the land outside the garden has a great many trees and shrubs. Here inside the garden, The plant life is mostly grasses, dandelions, and cattails. Do we have any?
Yeah, Dr. Shiloh had some questions.
Okay.
Do you want me to read them all?
Yes, please, because
okay.
I'm not seeing the chat
Yeah.
at the moment.
Okay. It's several questions. Do we have any idea how the fountains are powered? I mean, an actual pump needs energy. Are they springs under pressure? Is there a hidden aqueduct in the walls above that gives enough pressure to power the fountain? I suppose the same would be true in Ederdelin. How are the fountains powered? And what's the source of the water?
And all of that is unknown. Naturally, we can't go on. I'll get to you in a moment, Earl. But we can't really look at the underpinnings here because there aren't any, and so your guess is as good as mine as to how it is. I would assume that the fountains. Well, they may be set artisanal, but I wouldn't be at all surprised to find out that the Denis just made some very, very good pumps that are still running.
Well, there's fire marbles in Dellen and Segal, isn't there? Or
there might be fire marble lamps around the courtyard, but I don't recall. If you look over here, let's take a quick look at the courtyard at the other end of this. Yeah, you can see towers up and down the garden that have what look like fire marble lamps at the top of them.
Although it never gets dark here in Dellen, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's one sun in here. There's two suns. I'm trying to find it. There's one up there above our head.
But the point is that this is called the Sunny Garden for a reason.
No.
Anyway, Oro was asking why we can't take you up to the top so that you can see the things for yourselves instead of the looking at my picture. And the reason why I'm not having Murphak build us a platform up there is because the scenery around here is broken up into disconnected pieces. And if you don't come up at exactly the right place and line up your shot perfectly, it looks broken and fake. So it's better for me to show you a photograph of what it should look like rather than what it really is.
And if you want to see it for yourself, you can always come back on your own time and PM help to Mirabot, and he'll instruct you how to use the float command.
Yeah, the float.
Yeah, float and whatnot to see for yourself.
Okay, and was there another question?
I don't think so.
Okay. In that case, we are done with Eder Tsogul, and it's time to go to Eder Gura.
Potru says, a buried RTG powers an adamantium pump. I have no idea what that means. Thank you, Potro.
Say, as for, you never know when Larry might get another fascinating tidbit to share. I tried. What happened? I asked actually two different people at Cyan if they had intangibles notes for these ages that they would send me, but I never got a response. Yeah, I believe that Rawa's birthday was this month, and I believe he's 51 or 53. I forget which one.
Oh, he's just a baby.
Yeah. Darlene,
Right, Arte?
is
Yeah.
Hey, Darlene, is he 51 or 53?
Happy
53.
birthday, Dr. Shiloh.
Okay.
Yeah, happy birthday, Shiloh.
Next month I'm turning.
What was that, Susan? I didn't quite understand what you
I'm
said.
sorry, I'm having a mic malfunction.
So Shiloh's 50. He's one of the few people here that's younger than Rala.
The Denny don't count as high as I'm going to be next month.
Consider that the Dunny didn't really consider you old until you hit around 300. I don't think so.
Oh, I should hang out with them. Where can I find them?
You'd have to contact the Barrow and see what they did with Escher.
Well,
That or find
I won't
find the book to
Escher.
release on. Murfak, can you take us to Edgar now?
Yeah, I'm there.
Okay.
You
In that
can-
case, we need to link there. So type link to the bot, please, and we will move on. As another approved age, Edgar, of course, also has a maintainer's mark, but it's not near the link-in point. It's actually a little out of the way. Edgar was one of the Garden Ages that was written during the Garden Binge of Denis Century 8100. Copies of the Edgar book were intended to be posted in public linking libraries. However, they were quickly removed from distribution by the Denis. Denis survey teams found things here that made it off limits for public use according to Denis law. Instead, the linking books were given to various scientific study groups. The result is that this age had few visitors other than maintainers and scientists. The DRC had this to say about the age. Though the age was given to the Denis general population by the lords of the time, Gura was quickly discovered to house a number of animals, a native population, and archaeological records of various kinds. The age was removed from general
You didn't
access.
even make a phone call?
I'm hearing you talking.
I can mute the call.
Okay. The actual age of Edgar is much larger than the portion that will be released to the public initially. Outlying areas are diverse and surprisingly different than those already open. Much work is needed, and that's the end of the DRC note. Edgar is one of the few ages explorers can access that has a recognizable day and night. The entire cycle here takes 10 hours. It also has 2 moons which are very bright, so nighttime would be considered twilight on other worlds. When you link in, you arrive here, in Gura 1, which is the open part of the age that explorers can get to. Gura 1 itself is divided into 2 parts. The one we're in is called Upper Gura. Upper Gura is a volcano caldera surrounded by walls of weathered volcanic stone. The entire region is similar to Yellowstone in the USA in that it all appears to be sitting over a gigantic volcano that has been remarkably stable and has not interrupted in either thousands or perhaps even millions of years. Despite that, the volcano is very much active and has the fumaroles and flowing magma to prove it. As a matter of fact, if you walk up to the ledge here and look over the side, and then down into the canyon, you can see the flowing magma down at the bottom of it. Why this volcano is so stable yet so obviously active is a mystery. It has been so long since the last time the volcano erupted that erosion has carved the caldera's rim into twisted shapes. There are 6 main types of plants scattered around Eddergura. All of them are hardy and drought resistant. In that they are similar to cacti and desert grasses. The bulbous one, like the one I'm standing next to over here, is a kind of pitcher plant. Pitcher plants supplement poor soil by trapping insects and digesting them. Something else that you will see around here is that there are 2 types of grass. There's a hardy type that grows in clumps and often sprouts from the walls of the caldera. There's another type that grows as scattered single blades on the ground. There's also by the way, as long as I'm here, there's a clump of the grass that's growing from the walls. And then over here, I'm standing next to 2 examples of an unidentified drought-resistant vine that is covered with thorns. Down in the Lincoln area, you'll see a plant that looks like it has a number of tendrils or tentacles coming out of the center of it. That is another unidentified plant. It is a succulent that seems to be similar to cactus in that the stems and those tentacles serve the same function as leaves on other plants. And then as we walk up the pathway here, we'll come to the last type of plant that's in this area. This plant has 6 leaves that have a waxy coating to reduce moisture loss. An explorer named Myst found an analog for these plants called the red vein prayer plant, Amaranta leuconura, although this variety has blue veins rather than red ones. As I turn around, I am currently looking at a machine that is perched atop the caldera rim. It's one of the artifacts that were left behind by the native people of this age, and I believe myself that it is an electric generator. The machine sends water down the outer set of pipes into the magma in the canyon below, where it is heated into steam that blows up the inner set of pipes and drives the turbine. Electricity was probably broadcast through the air the way Nikola Tesla wanted to do on Earth. That idea is suggested by the large antenna you see on top of the generator. Walking down the path further, and across the arch, just on the other side of the arch, we have a number of structures perched on the edge, which appears to be an antenna array that probably received the power broadcast from the generator and rebroadcast it to the devices that are below. Murphy, can you warp us down to the lower part now? The next part of Ettergura is called Lower Gura. Thank you. And down here we have a number of structures built by the natives, which all have antennas on top of them, presumably to receive power. However, we don't know what these particular structures were intended to do. One thing that they have in common is that they seem to be stone bases or concrete bases supporting a framework which has the antennas on top of them. What they were intended to power is a complete mystery. Lower Gura is the second half of the accessible part of the age, and is very different in character from Upper Gura. It has an abundance of water, and there is a different kind of grass growing. There are also many fossilized bones exposed to the air. These bones offer a clue as to just how old this stable age is. These bones were most likely to have been uncovered by erosion. By the way, these devices that we find down here predate the Genie arrival and were one of the reasons why the maintainers disqualified the Sage for public use. There is a linking book to Eder Chemo on a stand inside one of the devices. It was placed here by Yisha as part of her quest, not by the Genie or DRC. If you walk all the way across the age until you get to the end, you will end up at a waterfall that drops down into a canyon. And this is one of the best views of Agura 2, which is the part of the age that we cannot get to. If you look carefully, you will note that there are stone buildings in the distance. And if you look at the sky off in the distance and directly above us, you will see a bird that the Denise Zoological Society called a forest hawk. However, if you ever got a chance to look at one close up, you would find out that these birds appear to be identical to the zone-tailed hawks that are found near the cleft in New Mexico. That means that they are possibly an import. There are two of these birds that have territories in the area. In any case, it's very possible that the rest of the age, which I mentioned is called Gura 2, was intended to be accessed by a bridge across this gap. And let's take a quick look at, I'm going to bring up my window for the stream again. And let's see.
While you're doing that, I just wanted to mention that there's a bone arch behind you, Larry.
Mm-hmm.
And for those who can get up on the arch, there's also a very good view of Gira 2.
Actually, we'll be seeing an even better one after a while, so there's no need for climbing.
Ah, okay.
In any case, if you look at the stream window, I have just brought up, this is concept art for the game that shows the pathway down into Gura 2. Gura 2 is the and then here's another shot of Gura 2. By the way, if you look at this, you might notice that the trees that you see here bearing a striking resemblance to the one of the first stages that you adventure in Myst 5. That was because since they didn't use these trees here in Uru, they imported the idea for them into Myst 5 instead. Tagira is what they call that age. Gura 2 is the home of a number of very improbable animals. one of the things that makes those animals special, and I mentioned that the volcano is a for Edinburgh, is a super volcano that covers most of the landscape, both inside and outside of the caldera. The thing about the animals in this age is that apparently they had a habit of making use of the steam vents from the or fumaroles from the volcano. At a certain point in their life, they would park themselves on top of one of the fumaroles, and then they would transform into those strange-looking trees. Here's a picture of one of them which has rooted itself. And here's a picture of another one.
Looking at the first tree, it looks like a model for a creature of some type.
It is a creature. Okay, and
Larry, for what it's worth, we have 22 minutes left in the tour.
okay, so we'll have to split this one up because we won't be able to cover Ed or Chemo in that time. We'll just do what we can.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. When you come across, when you walk into the caves under the waterfall, across from the pathway, you will find a number of fish traps here. The fish traps weren't for catching, used by the Denis for catching dinner. They were used by Denis scientists who were studying the Gura ray. Gura rays appear drab during the daytime, but at night they show bioluminescent colors. Murphak, I don't know if you can make it nighttime, but if you can, please do so. In any case, we'll try and make it dark, but if we can't, it's well worth coming back here on your own at during Gura's night to look at the rays because they're quite beautiful. Actually, I probably have a photograph I can show. Let me take a quick look. Oh, here we go. I'm going to go ahead and do show a photograph on the stream right now.
Well, that's interesting, Murphak. Thank you. Oh, I just fell through the age. Type W, PMW to Mirabot while you're falling. TMI, Shiloh. Yeah, you were right when you said. Never mind.
There's a window into my psyche for you, huh?
fish. Removing the water and removes the floor too.
Removing the water lets us see the rays nicely, but it doesn't. Whoops. But it doesn't show us what they look like at night. Anyway, getting on with things. The caves of oh, excuse me. Let's. Okay, I'm in the caves, so that's good. If we go up the tunnel to the next level, and through the doorway, which is open, thankful. This is where the Denis Maintainers Guild hid the Maintainers Mark for this age.
Right.
Excuse me?
You turned right.
I went through the open door,
Okay, all right.
wooden door.
Thank you.
Correct. Turn right.
Yeah. Inside the various chambers in these caves, you will see steam lamps. The steam lamps were most likely to have been made by the age's inhabitants. That's because the Denis, of course, always used fire marbles as lamps wherever they went. I surmise that the steam lamps operate by drawing burnable vapors from volcanic fumaroles. They are a remarkably resilient form of lighting and are still working perfectly long after this area was abandoned. They give off steam as a byproduct when they are lit, which is what gives them their name. The caves of Lower Gura are natural and were formed by lava flow and erosion. It is not known why the natives placed the steam lamps in them, but the Denis used them for equipment storage. At one time, there was a cave somewhere in Gura that held a special fossil. Let's go ahead and see if I can bring up a picture of that real quick. Here we go. And I'm going to bring that up in the stream window right now. The picture was labeled Choru. However, I found out later that that's not the name of the creature. That was the name of the version of Uru that this particular graphic was created for. The cave that holds this does not seem to be in an area that explorers can reach.
I'm sorry, is this concept art or is this really here physically and we have to use Mirabot to get there?
No, that's not in this. It was created, as I mentioned, it was created for an earlier version of Uru that was and later removed. So,
Oh wow, that is so cool.
yeah, it would have been nice if they had actually put that into the game, but unfortunately
Yeah.
they didn't.
But you haven't mentioned the other skeletons here yet, have you?
Just that all the bones were uncovered by time. erosion and wear and tear. Okay. And let's see, Gura 2. Anything to say about Gura 2? As I mentioned, Gura 2, the world outside the garden area, was going. The DRC was going to explore it, and with an eye towards releasing it for general access. But the project was abandoned when their funds ran out. And then, of course, I've already shown you the pictures I have of it. Okay. Murphak, if you can you take us down to the bottom of the second waterfall, to that area where that's hidden? Caver 1, I don't know if they actually burn sulfur, although, yeah, they would. But the thing is that volcanoes do produce other flammable gases than just sulfur.
Let's remember the cavers are real cavers, too.
Mm-hmm. And I was promising you that I would show you a better view of the artwork that's outside Gura 1. And we're doing right now that waterfall that's at the end of the stream where we were looking out at Gura 2 before. We are now at the below that. And so we have an unobstructed view of Gura 2. This is the artwork that's completely surrounding Gura 1.
It reminds me of Serenia, but it's not Serenia.
So, are those towers out there? Like antennas that would
Some of them
connect
are.
to-
Some of them are rock spires that are natural. But you
Okay.
will see that there are definitely buildings and towers out there that were built by someone intelligent.
Oh, I think Potru asked earlier if we know what happened to their civilization.
They were still there at the time of the Denis. And that was only around 300 to 500 years ago. So presumably they still are.
Wow.
Well, you can see the rays from down here too.
You can. I never really looked
Yeah,
for
look
it.
up. Look up.
I had never really looked for them before. Let's see.
Over on the edge.
In any case, we've only got 10 minutes left for today. So I'm going to go ahead and call it at this point, and we will pick up with the Eder Chemo next month.
Larry, you got to walk closer to the edge of the cliff and then look up to see the rays.
Okay. So about where you are?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can just see one of them now. But that's... Well, there's 2, 3.
4. I
Right.
see 4 of them.
Very small little from here.
Oh, anyways, I want to thank everyone for coming to the tour. We do these tours once a month. For Mirabot and Mirfak for doing the technical, for Larry and Arte being our hosts, and Larry and Arte being the historians, and me and Susan being your host. Also, don't forget to donate to the CAFCON so that we can help. We can keep bringing you these tours each and every month. Um, and then, Larry, if you want to post what's upcoming in the cavern,
I already
so
have
you
in the
don't.
stream window.
All right. Oh, let's remember.
Arte, what's going on today in Sana's Hood?
Well, today we are continuing with part 2 of Story Night's biannual Baroglyph tour. So today we tour the Baroglyphs in Ederkemo. And next week will be the lower Baroglyph cave, lower Baro cave accessed via Anone. So it's a 3-part tour, happens every 2 years, hence the biannual. So, but yeah, we're doing Ederkemo, and there's a total of 16 glyphs there that we'll be talking about.
And you're doing that this afternoon and tonight for both story nights?
Correct.
Oh, cool.
Tonight, or last week, there was an issue. It forced me to call the tour short. So tonight we're going to do Teledon as well as chemo. But this afternoon is only chemo.
And I noticed that there's something new on the schedule. Ayuhik Night in the competitive Myst Online League Hood.
I think that was scheduled last
Coyote
month.
Club at, that's correct.
That was
In any case, thank you all for coming, and we will catch you all again
Oh,
next
I am
month.
lagging city. Sorry, guys.
And we'll see you on July 27th for the continuation of the tour in chemo. Take care, everybody.
And I'm going to kill the stream right about now.